All right, Matt, second fight on our main card at bantamweight between the Machine, and it's not Bert Kreischer, it's Merab Dvalishvili taking on the Tazmexican Devil, Ray Borg. And this fight, Matt, is very interesting because Merab Dvalishvili, we know, he's a good wrestler, he's good in scrambles, and he has pretty decent grappling. But he's taking on a guy that at flyweight is probably one of the best in a lot of those areas, not counting the Demetrius Johnsons or top of the world you see Formiga. But in terms of this fight, it's weird because, again, it's taking place at bantamweight. We just saw Ray Borg at bantamweight against a good wrestler, and we saw exactly how it played out. I mean, Ricky Simone had a lot of success in that fight, maybe not on the feet, but especially with the wrestling. I mean, he looked like he was 2 or 3 weight classes bigger than Ray Borg in that fight. Now, this one interesting because Dvalishvili is only going to have 2 inches of height, but he's going to have 5 inches of reach, which could definitely play a factor because we know with Merab Dvalishvili, he likes to get creative early and wonky early with the striking. How do you see this one playing out?
So I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag now. I think Merab Dvalishvili is going to win this fight, and I think he's going to win this fight quite soundly. The problem I have with Merab is he's not that good of a striker. Like you said, he'll get wild and kind of creative for the first, minute and a half. And then once his opponent does start landing shots, he kind of switches into that wrestling mode all of a sudden. And that works when you're not fighting ranked guys, when you're moving your way up. I know he's been calling for that Sean O'Malley fight a lot recently. Here's the problem, though. After what we just saw Sean O'Malley do, you need a big performance to try to get that fight. And I got to be honest, and I hate jumping on hype trains early. Sean O'Malley knocks out Merab Dvalishvili 10 times out of 10 at this point, unless he shows us something huge against Ray Borg. I understand Eddie Wineland's a little bit later in his career, but still, the striking difference between those two is massive. And I think Ray Borg is the better striker out of these two guys. I wouldn't have said that before the Ricky Simone fight, but even in that loss, Ray Borg did show some pretty big improvements in the striking because I thought Simone's going to be able to dominate him on the feet and Ray Borg might be able to get the takedowns. But really, that fight was the complete opposite. Ricky Simone was going for takedowns, and on the feet, Ray Borg was making it ugly, getting inside, using his dirty boxing, and he made it a fun fight. The problem is, if he keeps on trying to go on the inside with Merab, you're kind of just doing half his work for him. He has to close that distance, get you to the ground. He's a much bigger guy, so if he does get on top of Ray Borg, he's going to be able to dominate him for the majority of it. So I think this is one of those fights where you only need 3 takedowns if you're Merab, because every takedown you get, you're probably going to be able to stay on top for the majority of the round. Even though, like we said, Ray Borg is a great scrambler, I just think Merab's too big and too strong, and he's going to be able to kind of dominate him in the wrestling.
Now, here's that part that I kind of saved from the intro. These guys have a common opponent, and it is Ricky Simone. And of course, Ricky Simone finished Merab Dvalishvili, but did he? And then he gets the big decision win over Ray Borg. But in that fight, Merab definitely had some big moments, and I can definitely say that. And a lot of people thought that Merab probably would have won that fight if it ended up going to decision, but it didn't. Did he tap? Did he not? Was he submitted? Was he not? Regardless, Merab, probably the second biggest favorite on this card, sitting around a -340 favorite. Ray Borg, a +275. I'm surprised that those odds are that far apart. I understand Ray Borg at 135 isn't Ray Borg at 125, but still, he's shown those flashes of brilliance that got him to a title shot at flyweight against Demetrius Johnson, where he got absolutely decimated. But still, Merab Dvalishvili hopefully didn't party too much after the Aljamain Sterling win. Hopefully, Ali Quinta didn't take him out for too many cocktails. They look like they enjoyed themselves in that limo. In terms of the Tapology votes, out of 423, 83% going with Dvalishvili to get the win, 85% predicting a decision. I'm going to go that way too. All you have to do to beat Ray Borg at 135 pounds. Oversimplification, you can hit me up in the comments, but it's an oversimplification. But the pattern and the blueprint to beat him at 135 is to just beat him in the grappling exchanges. And that's very much easier said than done for me sitting in front of a camera. But that's kind of the way that it has been done. So I'm going to take Dvalishvili to get the win. I think he's going to get it by decision. Matt, what's your final prediction here?
I agree. I don't think he'll get a finish because Ray Borg is kind of squirmy on the bottom, and he does have those really good kind of grappling transitions. He's good on the half beats, even on the ground. Like, it's not just, okay, I'm going to be in full guard then half guard. He's going to scramble between everything when you are trying to advance position. So I think he's going to make it an interesting fight, but I do think Dvalishvili is going to be able to get a pretty dominant decision.
But some wild odds there, and you can hit us up in the comments with your predictions for this fight. Matt, you're not going to want to miss the rest of this. Whole card, 2 minutes for the main card, 2 minutes for the prelims, 5 minutes for Evil Eye and Cynthia Calvillo. Matt, as we always say with Fight Night Picks, let's get into it.